Welcome to Win the Day from Back to the Bible. I'm your coach, Pastor Nat, and today we're going to talk about being useful to God. One of the benefits to moving is the ability to evaluate and eliminate unnecessary items from your life. I'm frankly just amazed by how much stuff that you can cling onto that really has no value and no use. But how would you feel if someone said that you were not valuable? What would you think if someone said that you were of no use? Well, Jesus, He wants to make sure that never becomes true. How do we do this? Well, let's listen to Jesus' words in Matthew chapter 5, beginning in verse 13. You are the salt of the earth. But if the salt should lose its taste, how can it be made salty? It's no longer good for anything but to be thrown out and trampled under people's feet. Now, I've been called a lot of things in this world, but salt is not on the top 10 list. Jesus' words, they seem silly to us in our modern culture. We use salt every day, but it's cheap, it's common. You can find it at every grocery store and even for free at fast food restaurants. So, why is being salt so important to Jesus? Well, in ancient culture, salt was incredibly valuable. Salt was a precious commodity. The only thing more precious than salt to the Romans was the sun. Roman soldiers were often paid with salt. Salt was even used as a mark of friendship. Salt was used to secure a covenant or a promise. Now, to us, that's weird. It is weird. But when you see how versatile salt was and is, I think we'll begin to get it. First, we have to know that salt was a preservative. They didn't have refrigerators or freezers in Jesus' day. So they would take meat and they would pack it with salt. It would cure the meat. It would preserve their meat. That's why salt was so incredibly useful. Second, salt would add flavor to their meals. If there is one seasoning that you need to bring out the flavor, it's salt. You have to add salt to anything that you cook. It brings a meal to life. Now, I want you to think about this. Salt creates a thirst. I mean, why do you think the restaurants serve chips and salsa? It's not because you're their favorite customer. They do it because it makes you thirsty. They want you to buy a beverage. Now, there are other elements that we could talk about, but I want us just to think about this. What would happen if we, as Christians, preserve the moral fabric of society instead of staying quiet? We can be like salt. Oh, what if we were adding flavor to all areas of life, just like salt does? What if we were creating a thirst for righteousness and a relationship with Jesus? We can and we should. We are salt. But don't forget, Jesus says, but if that salt becomes tasteless, it's useless. It's not worth keeping. It is only good for throwing out on the street. We don't want that. So here's my challenge for you today. Add just a little bit of flavor. Create just a little bit of thirst wherever you're at. What is it that you are doing in your daily routine that can add the flavor of Christ? How can you do that as you coach a youth team? How can you do that as you interact with the person at the checkout counter? Can you add flavor? Can you create a thirst for Jesus with how you speak and how you live? Of course you can. There are so many ways. Jesus says we are salt. So the challenge is, let's be salty today.